Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of MOPO, Matter of Personal Opinion. It's all MOPO. Our podcast today is going to be about the TV show Preacher. We actually just watched the first episode of the TV series, and we're going to talk about that mostly, and then maybe throw in some like the comic book references, and just talk about Preacher as a series as a whole. My name is @DaveRoach83. I'm here with @TheScientist on Twitter. You can also find us on It's All MOPO on YouTube and Twitter. So I guess we'll jump right into the episode. I mean, Preacher, brand new TV show on AMC. It's been out for maybe, a couple months now at this point, maybe a little bit over 2 months, maybe a little bit under, somewhere around there. And I don't know, I just think it's a great TV show. It's based off a comic series from the mid-90s, created by Garth Ennis and Steve Dillon. Very controversial comic, very inspiring. Just a wild story altogether. So it only makes sense in this day and age. If you're gonna make a show about a comic book, why not do Preacher? And I don't know. I think it's been well received so far. I don't have anything to back that up, but
yeah, I have nothing to back that up either. As you said that, I'm like, I like it.
Yeah, I mean, we really like it, but I guess that's all part of MOPO.
Anytime I talk to somebody about it, they're always like, Preacher, like they haven't heard about it, and we're already 9 episodes deep, and people still don't really. Yeah, like they're still not in the know.
I think we are approaching like the season finale, maybe if not next week, very soon.
Yeah. It's going to be something to see if I think it's what I think.
So yeah, what we hope to do is to do kind of like an episodic series with the TV show. Just as we always do, give our opinion on it, break it down. And like I say, it is based off a comic. So, of course, we're going to naturally
want to compare
it to the TV show. So
it's what anyone would do.
Right. For fans of the comic, we're not going to just, ignore it.
And it's something that when reading it years ago, I'm thinking, how would they... They're not going to get away with any of this if they ever tried to.
Yeah,
so I'm thinking, would this be a movie? But then it would have to be a series.
Right, because it's so long. I mean, in terms of comic books, it wasn't really that long of a series, but it was able to
fill multiple movies easily.
Well, 9 graphic novels worth. The first book is 7 comics, so times that by 9 is 63 comics,
But
that's a couple years worth of comics. And that's saying each book is only 7.
But a couple years worth of comics is not necessarily a couple years worth of movies or...
Well, no, what I'm saying is if they can fill 9 books, they should be able to make 3 or 4 movies out of it,
easily. I would think even more movies.
Well, yeah, you should be able to make 9.
We were talking earlier about this is seriously condensed.
Oh, yeah.
And, as we're seeing in watching the series on TV, on AMC, we're barely paging through some of this.
Yeah, well, because, I guess we could get into that a little bit, because...
So, I mean, as far as the
TV show and the comic go, what it appears that we're seeing on the TV show is like a prequel to what we see happening in the comic, but at the same time, we're seeing things in the comic that are happening on the TV show too, like
we're basically
earlier on the TV show than when it would necessarily happen in the comic. Like they're really meshing it, where they're like messing with the timeline of the comic and, like, making the TV show their own, but still, as true as you can be to the comic, I guess, without really, still be able to be on basic cable,
as I saw it was, in the comic, you're doing it through flashbacks, where on the show, we're actually watching it happen real time, except for the fact that Jesse, the preacher, doesn't really meet back up with Cassidy or Tulip until after his whole ordeal in the town.
Right, like with him being the preacher in
this town. So that's something new that they brought to it.
And I think the reason that he becomes the preacher in the comic is never really touched upon.
I feel like it kind of is, but I'd have to. I'm still in the process of going through and re-enjoying the graphic novel.
And for sure, but it's at least different from what it is on the TV show. Like, the reason that he's a preacher, it's all pretty much clean cut on the TV show. Why he's a preacher, what he's doing there, why Cassidy is there, why Tulip is there. But in the comic, Cassidy and Tulip are not there. So, there's similarities and differences. I think the show's doing a pretty good job of keeping people who know the comic guessing.
They definitely are doing a good job, and they did a good job with, not to say, like, bring that in, but...
because we can, because it's the first episode.
I was going to say, like...
Our space?
Oh, I was going to compare it to how they keep you guessing with The Walking Dead. They've done a really good job with that. As far as, like, keeping you guessing with certain things. Like, not all things, but certain things.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think Walking Dead does a mixed job of that, because some of the stuff is ripped right from the comic, and you know what's going to happen. But
as far as back to Preacher, how about we... talk about the first episode, since that's why we're...
Right, the point of the episodic episode series, MOPO on Preacher.
No doubt.
The episode starts off
with Preacher.
With what we know.
Oh, that's right.
We know it's Genesis.
It's all in space.
Right.
We see this. I guess you could see it almost as a comet.
Yeah, it looks like a comet. It's this entity.
It's just that ball of energy,
just flying through space, kind of like Mystery Science 3000.
Yeah, it looks very old school. Very
like stuff
hazy.
Yeah, basically hanging there. But it looks really cool. I like how they did it. It's flying through space, and I know that that's Genesis. It escaped from heaven, and it's looking for a host.
No doubt.
So it's flying through space, and it's presumably on its way to Earth. I don't know if it stops at other planets on the way, but they don't really show that. They show it going right to Earth. And he basically, it basically starts inhabiting different preachers and ministers.
Different religious leaders.
Yeah, religious leaders, essentially looking for maybe somebody who's worthy enough or just crazy enough to, because Jesse's not exactly the most devout and holiest dude, so it's like, is worthy the right word? Because what makes him...
Well, he has a lot of self-restraint. He does have a lot of good heart. Because
it did appear that at least the first preacher or minister was...
He immediately went into, I'm the prophet.
Right. Was pretty self-righteous there, and maybe that's why he, got exploded or whatever. However you want to put that. But I like how when he used, he said as he says, it's the word of God, he gets hit.
That's when he gets hit.
And he wakes up and tells everybody to be quiet, and even the dog, just shuts up. I was like, oh damn, what if like, what about that poor dog? Like, technically they can't talk no more because he told everybody to be quiet. He just gets exploded. Who's there to tell them they can talk again?
Well, they are all screaming, so clearly they could talk
I
again.
guess maybe the spell is broken or whatever.
And I think it was like, it wasn't like be quiet forever, right? It was
dude,
just, like,
how
be
do you
quiet in
know
that
though?
moment.
Like, I don't know, man.
So you're saying that poor dog is walking around with no voice?
Potentially. I'm just saying. So, right, so Genesis is going around the world trying to find,
like a Satanist leader in Russia.
It wasn't a Satanist.
Well, no, because when they closed the door...
Church.
No, when they closed the door, wasn't that a pentagram?
No, I don't think so. I think, like, that was just, like, some kind of Roman Catholic, like...
You worshiping the devil, not even know it?
But,
I swear that was a pentagram.
You know, they even had a little clip on the TV where, like, it says Tom Cruise, like, explodes in the middle of one of his sermons at, like, Scientology, which is pretty funny. They didn't have to do that.
Yeah,
like,
they didn't have to do that.
They just, like, come through there and they're like, So, yeah, he's flying around trying to find his,
And it takes a while to finally get to him.
Right, because it's not until the end of the episode that it actually hits Jesse.
And in the meantime, we're being introduced to Cassidy.
Yeah, right. I guess it does jump from, those different dudes getting blown up to Cassidy first, huh?
Yeah.
Like, he's on the airplane. I guess he's, like, working as a...
like a in-the-air...
like
bartender
or whatever, like a private jet for some kind of party.
Except it wasn't the party he might have thought it was.
I mean, it was a party, but it was
a party for him.
Yeah, it was a vampire hunting party. Because this dude just, he goes to the bathroom, and I guess he's looking for he's looking for air freshener, sprays it down. As he's putting in the air freshener, he notices this book in the cabinet. It winds up being a Bible with all kinds of crazy messages in it and some real
interpretations or something.
Like devout, extremist,
occultist.
Christian, and he realizes because we don't know this, but we know.
Yeah, if you're looking at it, it comes off very jarring and why is this happening? But having read the graphic novel, we know that there's a society, an underground society that is hunting vampires. Right,
and Cassie just happens to be a vampire.
He just happens to be a vampire, and his backstory is actually really cool. I mean, it's not your normal vampire backstory.
But they don't really get into that yet.
Not
either.
yet. But I'm just saying, in general, having read. Yeah, that's true. We don't even know if they're going to keep that together.
Yeah, if that's what it is. So and the comic,
they kind of twisted that up.
He's such a love-hate character in the comic because you feel for him, but he does a lot of selfish stuff, to put it nicely. Let's not try to curse on the podcast, but.
Selfish was a curse?
No, I said that's what I'm saying. To put it nicely, he was selfish. He did some selfish things in the comic. He's not exactly a pure hero.
Oh, no. He's like an anti-hero, right?
Yeah, well, however you want to put it, he's not always a good guy. And, sometimes he does bad stuff. But, we don't know how they're going to do that on the show. But, basically, they show him basically figure out, oh, damn.
These guys are after me.
These guys are obviously here for me. So I'm going to go back out there, act all nonchalant, and basically tear through these 7 to 10 people, including the pilot and the co-pilot who are in on it too. He runs through all these dudes, basically.
Very, very well choreographed. I thought it was
a cool fight scene.
Yeah, it was a very cool fight scene.
For sure. But it looked like it was a fight scene between a guy who, super powered, guy who knows how to fight versus, 10 guys who had no idea how to fucking fight.
It was just you two know how to fly a plane. we're not expecting you to fight,
Right,
but
we're just gonna jump.
other guys should be able to handle this one guy.
Right, it's 10 of us, so we just jumped this dude and, like, we stabbed him in the heart or whatever.
But, yeah, I mean, they weren't good at close quarters combat or something.
The way they thought it was going to go, and basically, you see Cassidy use this guy like a keg.
Oh, that was, because he stabs him with the broken bottle and then finishes fighting all these other people. And then after he's done feeding off the pilot, he goes over to the co-pilot or vice versa, I don't know, and just kind of uncorks the bottle that he stabbed the guy with and then pours them out into his own little jug.
Right.
Give himself a flask of blood. That cracks me up.
And proceeds to jump the fuck out of the window.
Just straight out. No parachute, no nothing.
Like, he got himself this jug of blood. But so flash forward in the episode, we come back to him. He's sitting there in a pile of his own guts.
Just totally smashed and liquefied.
That little jug of blood did nothing for you.
Unless he chugged it on the way down, which I don't think he did.
No.
It was just broken. It smashed. When he jumped out, I'm like, I don't understand.
Like, why do that? But it's just, I guess, to make it look cool or whatever. But
yeah, and because that's just kind of the type of guy Cassidy is. He's a nut. He's a straight nut, and he's definitely the comic relief in some ways, I feel.
Oh yeah, for sure right now. So then I guess they get into where the preacher and his church assistant, like Emily, are eating breakfast, I guess, at her job at the diner. It just shows the different trials and tribulations and what they're going through, trying to get people to come to church.
Yeah, not
people
enough
always
donations, not enough.
Right, not enough people coming in. People bothering the preacher while he's trying to eat. Going through all that. They go to the actual church, I guess, and, sermon is what it is. They have a picnic after the church service. And a kid, one of the little kids comes up to the preacher and basically asks him to, like, take care of his dad or whatever because...
Yeah, he's all like, I need you to hurt my dad.
Because dad's hurt my mom.
Yeah.
Or, I need your help.
You don't really understand what's going on.
Well, you're led to believe, okay, this kid is trying to help his mom.
When he asks him, is he hurting you? Or he's kind of, he's all like...
Not like he's hurting my mama, though.
Yeah. He's like, I did some shit wrong and he hit me.
Well, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about he be hurting my mama.
Yeah, he's hurting my mom.
So preacher winds up going to this lady's work.
Yeah, which I guess is kind of like...
What you're supposed to do?
Unprofessional. But you don't want to go to the...
What are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
Right, because you go to your house and then...
You go to the house, it's weird.
She's going to get beat for real.
You would have to... I feel like the next time they're at church, you would have to say something.
Right.
I don't know.
But you're going to go to this lady's job and basically, cozy around, you're getting your ass beat, girl, at home. And she's like, hell yeah, I'm getting my ass beat.
I couldn't believe, even whether she liked it or not, I couldn't believe that she was that open to just talk about it at work in general.
Yeah, it's the preacher, though, man. You got to be able to talk to your preacher.
Yeah, but I don't know, it caught me off guard.
It caught him off guard, too.
Yeah.
He's like, what the, word? For real?
She's like, yeah.
And she's like, that's how we get it.
But you don't know it right away, because she starts just telling
Yeah. She's all nonchalantly.
She's like,
but that's what I'm saying.
With a kettle.
Right.
It's like, what?
Right, because he walks in, he's like, does he hurt you? And she's like, yeah. He beats me, he bites me,
punches me
in my privates, and put me in a figure four, smash a chair.
Damn.
Smash a chair over my head,
threw me into a ladder.
And he's all like, okay, we need you to come to the
police,
the sheriff. And she's like, what?
She's like, why in the world would I do that?
And he's saying, well, you're not going to stop. She's like, no, I like it.
Yeah, she's like, give me more.
And he's all like, what? She's like, Like, if you crack me in my mouth right now, you might get a little something.
Jeez. But yeah, that was pretty much the gist.
Right. So then that escalates because, of course, she goes and runs and tells that.
Yeah, right to her husband, who immediately goes to Preacher and is like, "You're going to talk to my wife and not me first?"
Right.
Which, I mean, I can kind of say,
which is
Preacher
true,
should have gone to the husband, been like, "Yo, dude, why am I hearing you're hitting your wife? Like, for real?" And it's like, he'll probably argue it's none of his business and this and that.
Right.
But
if I find out you're being that,
because then it's kind of like, why are you going to my wife?
Right.
You trying to split us up?
Right. He's not
trying to get my wife.
Well, I don't think that's just saying he's a nosy ass preacher when he's minding business.
Well,
that's how me and my wife get down is how me and my wife get down. And he thinks he's gonna rough up the preacher, and the preacher's like a good dude or whatever, so he lets him. I think like kind of takes an ass beating
a little bit
until like he starts driving and somebody's gonna go beat the boy, and he's all that don't touch boy.
Yeah, he turned into like Sling Blade.
Right.
I like the way you talk.
I like
don't beat your boy.
He's just a boy.
He's just a boy.
But and he like proceeds to bust this dude the fuck up.
Oh my
and
goodness.
All of his homeboys.
Oh my goodness.
Sheriff come in try to break it up.
He's like, come on, we ain't no time for fighting, we at war.
And they do like this Civil War reenactment and shit. Yeah, and he lets him do it at first, and then like, you know, he threatens the boy, and so sheriff comes in, and even when the sheriff is there, he's like, come on, preacher, you don't got this. And now, hold on, we almost done.
Breaks his arm.
He snaps this boy's arm, so like the bone is poking out the top like a twig.
It's a compound fracture, I think.
Oh, that's more than a fracture.
Well, no, I think that's what they call it, a compound fracture, when it like comes out the skin.
Because a fracture is just like not a complete break, like it's like a line or whatever, like. But yeah, that's a break. It ain't a clean break.
I don't know.
But regardless,
it's still ridiculous, dude. And I was like, oh, that don't even look remotely healthy.
No, that didn't look like that broke clean at all.
No. Oh man, it was like
Yeah. So,
like it was all by the wrist too. So it's like that's gonna heal weird.
Preacher's all drunk and feeling sorry for himself. Lady's a bad preacher. And he has that lady, Emily, come scoop him up from the bar, got her kids in the backseat, you know, it's late as fucking night. And this lady obviously loves this dude. She got, like, dudes coming at her, and she's all, like, scurrying them off, but, like...
Yeah, she really does got a crush on him.
Just by the way she looks at this dude, you know what I mean? Like, it is what it is. So she's gonna come out at 12 o'clock at night and do that for him. And he don't, like, see it or appreciate it or, you know, whatever. So well, he got, like, that dynamic...
Seems to be completely oblivious.
Yeah. Like, nah, I ain't mixing that. Like...
Is it...
I need your help at church. I start hitting that. We don't do good.
Yeah, then the church becomes something else entirely.
Right. So, like, he's smart about his.
We break up, you start throwing crucifixes out the window.
I put my stuff in plenty of crazy chicks before, like, I ain't doing it again. But, so, like, she picks him up, and he's all like... I think it's
because in the back of his head, he still kind of likes Tulip.
Oh, for sure. For sure. But we're jumping ahead because you don't even know who Tulip is yet.
Yeah, but I mean, I read the book.
I know who these people are.
I know, yeah, that's like...
They're my friend. But,
well, I mean, it'd be crazy if they... I don't know. I'd rather them be my friend than my enemy. But I don't know. Damn.
So he's all crying, I'm quit. I ain't gonna be the preacher no more. And she all tells into his girl, well, it wouldn't really matter either way, homeboy, so you let me know. Go, I'll get you some sleep, or whatever. So he goes and starts drinking some more, and that's when...
He just gets knocked out.
The Genesis, I don't know if they're even going to call it Genesis.
Well, what? I don't want to jump too far ahead, so we won't talk about it right now.
The Genesis, for lack of a better name, hits that dude. He wakes up.
The Word of God. We can just call it the Word. That's probably all they're going to call it right now.
Well, we know it. I mean, yeah, because that's the only thing we've seen it do.
The Word of God.
You know, not trying to give too much away, but there are other powers.
Oh, yeah.
So, we'll see what they actually call it. But, I'm talking about, like, the angels and so what they call it, like its actual name. But, whatever. You know, they hits Jesse, wakes up with a new vigor. You know, wake up, you know, tell everybody at church the next day, like this Saturday night, he go to church the next morning. Dude, man, whole family,
broken arm
in
and
church.
his son with a black eye.
Like,
you came to church.
Whole family in church. And he calls it out. He's like, you know, I'm a bad preacher. You know, I promise I won't even hit nobody. And nobody makes a sound like I'm in that church. I'm pointing it out.
Like,
he talking about you. Like, and they get on to like, preacher, that little boy had a black eye yesterday.
Yeah.
Who did that, preacher? Get him. Jiminy Cricket suit wearing that.
Get on.
But yeah, I'll give them both credit. Preacher showing his face in church the next day after beating up half the town. And that dude, you know what I mean, broken ass arm.
Yeah,
I'm not
like,
going to church the next day.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, you
got heart.
Yeah, you
I'll give
really
you credit
do.
for that. That's something I am not doing.
It's like,
Not get my ass beat by the preacher.
It's like
ugly like that in front of everybody. I'm not going to church the next day.
Not going to work the next day.
Well, obviously you're gonna be out of work. You just got your arm snapped. Unless you like working at a lounge somewhere, you know.
I mean, I guess that shows some good in him, you know.
One-handed.
You know, maybe he got a little bit of good in his heart.
Who, the dude?
Yeah.
I mean, his wife probably made his ass.
Because we don't know if that kid was ever even hit.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, that could have been the first time. Been like
yeah, I got my arm broke because of you.
And he got his arm broke because of himself.
But you know that.
But it was all because the kid went
and got preacher
involved. I mean, he was trying to protect his mom. I get it.
Yeah, but he ain't gonna get that. You get your ass beat. You're a drunk, you know, child and woman beater or whatever.
I'm saying preacher go to the husband.
Should have went to dude man first.
I mean, I still don't think it would have been a better outcome. I think it was more of an excuse to get into a fight.
Moral of episode 1. Preacher should have just went to dude man from the jump.
That would have helped dude man out quite well.
And not have gone to this chick's work, putting it on blast.
Which, by the way, that guy walks in from the cow slaughtering area, totally bloody, and just goes like, yeah, having some coffee and putting shit in the microwave.
Right.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, that cafeteria was white almost everything. And he's just, yeah, I'm just going to make a mess.
Remind me, I used to work overnight auto parts. I was shipping and receiving. And the one supervisor did. Big, burly, white dude, got the cul-de-sac like the David Crosby haircut.
Okay.
Big dude. Mustache, everything. But, and we'd work, like, he'd wear these gloves, like, and those gloves would be greasy and dirty from, like, grabbing, like, tire axles and you know, so
screws and bolts and...
Every day, lunchtime, my man would grab his sandwich from the refrigerator, bread to glove. Like, no, I'm not even going to leave it in the plastic.
He's not even going to take the glove off since he's at lunch.
Not coming off. Goes into the bathroom with his sandwich, goes into the toilet stall and eats the sandwich, reads the paper, takes a shit while on lunch. Or whatever.
That's nasty. and he's got and
he leaves
every part of that is gross, but the fact that he's got the gloves on, so he's got greasy sandwich, he's got greasy newspaper, he's got greasy asshole, he's got greasy
and that kind of reminded me of that when Dude Man walked into the break room or whatever, all torn up.
He was just like
cow guts and brains all over him.
It's like, that's John, that's what he does.
It's a living. Whatever. But, yeah, and I guess, but we didn't even talk about Tulip, though.
We didn't talk about Tulip, and we didn't talk about Arseface.
Arseface, okay, so we'll talk about Tulip. So somewhere along in there, because we kind of skipped to the end, like, that was kind of the end when they're all in church, and Preacher's like,
that is true.
I'm going to save y'all, or whatever.
Yeah, that was kind of like the final message. I've come here to save you.
Save y'all.
Save y'all.
But, but I'll get into this in a second. But, okay, Tulip. So, we see Tulip because as Preacher's doing his rounds, he goes to Tulip's, like, uncles or granddaddy.
Yeah, to check on him.
Pretty sure it's her uncle.
Yeah.
To check on him. He gets, he's going to get him all right. He gets him all right, enough. He sets him up so he can just sleep it off.
Yeah.
Or whatever. But Tulip is in there. We don't know it's Tulip yet.
She's taking a shower.
And they're taking a shower. He knows it's her, and he's, like, pissed.
Yeah, he's like, I gotta get out of here.
He bounces right out. So
and she's looking out the window as his truck's driving away. I don't know if she knows it's him or not.
I got the feeling she knew it was him.
But she probably was like hating that. She's like,
it's on. I'm
gonna
come get you.
It's on.
Or whatever. But, so we kind of see like a flashback of how she comes to town on the run from somebody. Like,
yeah, I'm still not sure how they're going to play that.
And Cassidy also talks to somebody too near the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, to set him up with new credit cards and stuff, new identity.
They tell him to just hang out and lay low.
And he had that Scottish accent, Scottish-Irish accent.
Irish, but
Irish.
It's different.
Tell you twice, boy.
Oh no, I tell you once. Tell you twice, you have two black eyes.
Oh.
Good joke, side joke, MOPO side joke. What did the husband tell the wife with two black eyes?
I don't know.
Nothing. He already told her twice.
Jeez. Misogynistic.
And she basically creates a bazooka out of tin cans and metal army men with two little kids because she just happens to crash on her property after like killing this dude who's like trying to kill her. So I can't really fault her too much for like.
There was like two of them in there, right? It was like
maybe
two
dudes, but. Semantics.
Either way,
she took care of those dudes.
She did a number on them. She's in there doing crop circles and in the cornfield.
Drive through the cornfield or fighting, which was pretty cool. And yeah, she crashes and kills those dudes and notices that they have more people coming after her very soon. So these people come and she blows these people up, out of their helicopter. And just bounces out. Or whatever, like, bye kids, y'all have fun, right?
Yeah.
And that's when, we get, the introduction to her. And then, so...
Well, after giving, like, a very woman-empowering speech.
Yeah. You got the feeling that the little girl is very influenced by Tulip, and that was like a life...
Yeah, she's going to grow up to be something...
Life-altering, or, like, life-changing course of action, like... It's going to put her on a specific path now to something not average. But, so then I guess we can talk about Arseface, because once again, Preacher's on his travel throughout the town going to see people. He goes and sees Arseface, who, Arseface in the comic is a kid who fails to kill himself by the same way Kurt Cobain killed himself, allegedly, I think. Side MOPO, Dave Grohl killed Kurt Cobain.
Oh, snap!
But, yeah, no, we're just gonna leave that alone, let that sizzle on the hot plate right there. But, in the comic, the kid, Kurt Cobain kills himself, the kid tries to kill himself and botches it, and they have to sew his face back together.
Because he did it full of, like, birdshot or something? Or
who knows?
I forget what happened, but it was like, it wasn't...
He tried to go straight up with it instead of back with it.
It didn't take whatever it happened.
Yeah, like, I'm not trying to...
I mean, either way...
exact direction on how to...
Yeah, either way that... that couldn't have worked out better for Arseface, honestly.
Right.
Like, he got away, like, his eyes are still intact. Like,
It'd
he
be a
can
lot
still
worse,
hear,
right?
apparently.
Still hear
like,
and walk around.
If his lips look like a puckered butt,
Right.
that's the best case scenario for him.
They show this kid's face back together and it basically looks like his mouth is a rectum, like it's an asshole.
Yeah.
And
all
somewhere
sucked
along
in.
the line, Cassidy named, in the comic now I'm talking about, he names him Arseface. You know, Assface. He has R's for a face.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing, you know, they don't really call him that yet on the show.
Yeah, they just use his name Eugene.
Right, he's Eugene. The depiction of his dad is very close to the comic. I like that.
They're doing a pretty good job on all the different, like, I want to get into that after. Okay, after we. All right, fair enough.
Because I do want to talk, especially about Jesse and Tulip.
Okay.
You know, the casting for those, but and on the TV show, the kid looks a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
Than the kid in the comic, because the kid in the comic
looks a lot more busted up.
Very disgusting, and it's very shocking.
Like it's clear, it's obvious that it was like a large caliber to the face.
Where this kid, you looking at him straight on, for sure, he's an ugly dude, man. Like there's something wrong with this kid, like. But you catch him from one side or the other, you might not even, glance at him. You might not even think nothing's wrong with him at all. So, like, I kind of see how they did that. They use subtitles for the kid, so we know what he's saying at all times. And it's a good, he looks up to the preacher, and, it's a good little relationship that they have together. So basically, like I said, like that basically wraps up the first episode. We kind of went,
Yeah, we went all over the place.
All over the place. We kind of skipped over Tulip and Arseface, where we probably should have talked about them sooner. But basically, yeah, we're seeing a lead up for the second episode, where the preacher is really going to try to
turn the church around.
Yeah, he knows he has something going on. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, we totally forget. Yeah, the guy who's on the whole episode, he's just bothering the preacher day after day. It's like, my mother keeps calling me, she's belittling me, she's giving me a hard time.
He's one of those people that we're made to know he is always up the preacher's butt.
Like, so much so that when the kid approaches the preacher about his dad beating his mom, it's actually a way, it's a way to get out of the conversation with this guy.
But this dude 5 times a day bothering me about his mom.
And he's always telling him the same thing, just be honest and open your heart. Just be honest with her, tell her how you feel, and just open your heart. Open your heart to her. And
he gets this power, and
I don't know if he did it on. He did it on purpose.
No, because that's what he always tells him. But I don't think he knew he had the word and didn't know what this was going to do. I don't think he intentionally.
You don't think he because that is like the first time he ever used it.
And we're gonna see, because we've already seen these TV shows, but in the second episode is the funeral for the guy, and that's when it clicks in Jesse's head.
That's right.
Oh, dang, I got this power, maybe I can use this, so on and so forth. This is a gift. But Jesse knows at the end of episode 1 there's something different.
Oh, for sure.
And he feels it, and he wants to, and that's basically where they kind of leave it, but as the episode is ending, this guy, Jesse, uses the word on this guy, tells him, like you always do, be honest, open your heart, tell your mom how you feel, and open your heart. This guy literally goes down to Florida or whatever, tells his mom, about herself, and cuts open his heart.
Yeah, just digs the knife right into his chest and yanks out his heart.
Pulls out his beating heart still in his hand and drops, right on the table,
and
from his mama.
And just like all havoc, screaming and
cut.
Yeah. It was wild.
Yeah.
And that was definitely a good shock ending for a first episode. Keep you enticed.
I was very pleased by it. By the episode, it's pretty wild. Not what I expected.
No, not what I expected either. Not mad at it though.
Where the comic starts off, this is nothing like the comic starts off.
But at the same time, the comic does start off with all three of them together, so I understand it's only right to introduce them all together,
right?
Even
which
though
makes
the
me
timeline
feel like
is going to be
a lot of this. Yeah, there's definitely, because certain things happen later on the TV show that happen,
without
at different times in the comic. There's going to be major differences, but I think the similarities are going to be very much there too.
And then it's only it's not.
This is to me, the TV show so far this season, this episode feels like a prequel to what we've seen in the comics from, book 1 on. So maybe this whole season might be the prequel season. Then we'll get into where in the comics he's looking for God. And maybe the second season will begin with him looking for God.
I get what you're saying now, because you are more or less starting already a year or two into this.
Right, this is past what's going here, but you are right.
I understand now, because you're not even acknowledging the fact, because yeah, I get what you're saying.
And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but that's not what I expected at all. I thought,
I think it makes sense, though.
But I like it. I like that they're taking their time and explaining things, and, we're not going to have this wonderment of what, his backstory was and everything, because the show goes much deeper into Jesse's backstory.
Oh, yeah, it does.
So I think that's pretty cool too. But as far as the casting, I think Cassidy's 100%, and I like these characters. And then Gromy, but from the first time I saw Tulip and Jesse, I was just kind of Jesse, these two characters are way grittier and way more vicious of characters than what Jesse and Tulip start out to be. Maybe they get to that point, but from the jump on the TV show, especially Tulip and Jesse too, it was a bit surprising, but all in all, it does give it a bit of a different dynamic, and it's a little more exciting.
I would agree, because I definitely feel like Jesse and Tulip are capable of what they're doing right now. Mm-hmm. But I did see the same thing where it didn't seem as immediate. That seemed to be a gradual let loose of disregard.
So yeah, this being our first episode of Preacher,
it's very long. It's probably not going to be as long as the other ones aren't going to be as long. Yeah,
that's exactly what I was thinking.
This is more a huge setup to everything.
Yeah, so
explaining the comic.
We did not intend for this to be this long.
Yeah,
honestly, we're not saying it's a bad thing, not a good or a bad thing, but we are intending to try to keep these
within 15 minutes or so.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't even put a time. It's more shorter of a video, for lack of a better word, a program, a podcast, just so you can watch it with, or during or after.
You can listen to it. No problem.
The episodes as not necessarily a companion piece, but if we sit here and talk for an hour or 2 hours for each episode, it kind of defeats the point of doing it episodically. So
there's not as much going on in each episode.
Right.
we've covered most everything that we would need to cover, and there's no sense in repeating ourselves episode after episode.
Yeah, so we already talked a good bit about the comic. It'll probably be less and less.
Less and less until we get on further on into
different characters. Like, we will be seeing the Saint of Killers.
I'm excited about that.
It's just an awesome character. We didn't really talk about the Angels, but that's okay.
Yeah, because we haven't really been introduced to them yet.
We've seen them, but we don't know what these dudes are doing.
As far as we know, they're government workers of some kind.
Two dudes. So, look forward to at least an episode for each episode of The Preacher in the first season.
At least for right now.
Should be 9 or 10 episodes. And depending on how that goes, next season, maybe do the same thing. Maybe we can start doing companion pieces instead.
Would that be something that you'd even want to listen to?
So that's MOPO, we'd love to hear what you think about it. Thanks again for listening. And remember, it's all MOPO.
Like, share, subscribe.
Matter of personal opinion.
Comment.
Have
That's
a great
where you
day.
share your opinion.